Hello!
Hello, everyone!
We are going to be hosting the next Manga Awards.
Basically, it's a manga award co-sponsored by Kadokawa's Da Vinci magazine and Duango's Nico Nico.
This is an awards show that is hosted every year, and this is the second year that overseas fans have been allowed to vote on the awards. I remember tweeting this out, and one of the tweets I saw is, "Oh, I really hope Chainsaw Man wins one of the awards." And I'm just like, my guy, I get it. Chainsaw Man is about to air, everyone's hype about it, but that's not what these awards are about. These awards are about celebrating real up-and-coming manga.
Yeah, exactly. These are like right hot off the presses, you guys, like straight out of Japan. Some of these titles came out literally like a month ago, or at least in print. Only titles currently serializing in Japan with no more than 5 volumes can be selected, and both nominees and winners are chosen via fan votes.
So there are 2 categories. That's one that's web, and that's one that's print. But before we move on, I guess we should shout out today's sponsor, which is, of course, Daddy Bookwalker.
Daddy Bookwalker!
Yes. Bookwalker is the official ebook store for Kadokawa, where you can buy manga, light novels, all that kind of stuff in English. And a lot of the manga that we're going to be talking about today is going to be available on Bookwalker.
Well then, how about we go ahead and take a look at some of the past titles that have been won or nominated for this award so far, shall we? It is kind of wild that there's randomly like an anime girl here hosting like a manga award.
Let's start with 2018. What do you see there, Callie?
Oh, I recognize some of these. Do you guys remember what anime I listed as being one of my favorites during my debut stream? Dr. Stone, the print #2 winner of 2018, and some of you may be familiar with The Way of the House Husband.
I love Way of the House Husband. One of the best comedy manga to release in recent years, honestly. Now, 2019, these are some real bangers right here, okay? We got Spy Family. Do you say Spy Family or Spy X Family?
I say Spy Family just because it's easier to leave out the X.
One time, this is going a bit off topic. I was hanging out with someone. They called it Spy Times Family. And I'm like, what did you just say?
Oh, spy multiplied by family?
Yeah, how to spot a serial killer, basically.
What a psychopath.
But yeah, in 2019, Spy X Family won #1 in the Web Awards. And as I just talked about it, Chainsaw Man won #2 in the Print Award. So these are some pretty big names, but that's not all. Let's go to some of last year's winners as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm seeing as a reoccurring theme here? A lot of these have anime.
Exactly. So it's highly likely that whatever's going to win this year, you're probably going to see an anime of it. So in 2020, we have Shikimori-san's Not Just a Cutie. We have Call of the Night. And in 2021, if you watch last year's awards, we have Oshinoko and we have Freeren. If you're a viewer of my channel, you should definitely be familiar with some of these titles because I've made a video on 3 of these titles.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, I mean, Call of the Night is airing right now. And I believe Oshinoko has an anime that's been announced. Don't know when that's coming out, but I'm really, really excited for that one. I discovered Oshinoko from last year's manga awards, and now I've read it and I'm a fan, and seeing it made into an anime, I understand what manga readers feel like. Where they follow a manga and it gets an anime, I feel that sense of pride. You know,
Yeah,
I get it.
Like unstoppable excitement, right?
Exactly.
That's kind of how I felt about Dr. Stone, to be honest.
Oh, you're a Dr. Stone fan even before the anime started,
Yeah,
right?
I had read the manga before. Oh man, so you
Yeah.
know what? Who knows what we're gonna see today that may eventually turn into an anime, and let me tell you what, some of these winners I need to see animated.
Did you enjoy your time reading all the titles?
I had a great time. There were some that I thought were good, and there were some that I just absolutely fell in love with.
Even though I've only read like a few chapters of the Japanese only releases, I was so impressed with some of them. And I read most of like the English translated ones, and there are some real bangers in here.
100%. Shall we begin?
Yeah, let's just jump right into it. So #3 for the web division is Magi Lumiere. This is upside down.
Sasuga guard.
It's a magical girl manga, okay? But you know how this recent trend of magical girls have been not magical girls, but like tragical girls? We had like the Sailor Moon era, the Cardcaptor Sakura era, and then like Madoka just completely changed what a magical girl was. And then every magical girl show became Madoka. So this is like a new take on the magical girl genre that's not a Madoka ripoff. What it is magical girls mixed in with the corporate world. In this world, there are things that kind of like kaiju. There are monsters that appear in the world, but instead of having like a superhero to take care of them, people hire magical girls, and there are magical girl agencies to vanquish these monsters. It's kind of like a satire of the magical girl genre and also a satire of corporate Japan life. as well.
Well, apparently the concept came from a joke between the authors saying, wouldn't it be funny if magical girls were structured corporately and the president of said company was just a cross-dressing older dude in a magical girl cosplay? It's not my quote. Somebody else said that. But yeah, this has 3 volumes in Japanese and 40 chapters in English on Manga Plus, if you guys want to check it out.
Shall we go on to number 2 of the web category?
I'm ready, let's go!
Alright. Dun dun dun! This is You and I Are Polar Opposites. This one's kind of a bit more simple. This is just a nice, wholesome romance. But here's the twist, okay? Here's the big twist. They confess in chapter 1.
It reminds me of like those memes on Twitter that are like about relationship dynamics and stuff like that.
Okay, so to explain the relationship dynamic, the girl is a bit more, you know, outgoing. She's a bit more energetic. And then the guy is, surprise, surprise, kind of like the polar opposite, where he's like very quiet. He's more stern. He's very serious. So it plays on that dynamic. In the second chapter, they go on a date together. And the girl's like really flustered. Does he really like me? Is he just dating me because he's bored or something? And then the guy like Googles something. And then on his Google search history, the top search is, how do I talk to my girlfriend? And that was just like one of the cutest little sweet moments. And that just immediately sold me on the dynamic between the two mains.
I love that so much. I mean, a lot of people seem to be comparing it to My Dress Up Darling for the similarities.
I can see it. Except they actually confessed, you know?
Yeah.
They actually confessed.
Right out the gate, they're like, this is what you're getting. And the story is about what happens afterward, which I think is neat because, you know, a lot of romance manga are like leading up to the confession. It's like, you kind of have this feeling of, all right, so what happens next?
I can really see this getting an anime. It's going to be one of those anime of the season. And if you just want a nice dose of wholesomeness, then this is just going to be the show you watch or the manga you read. So yeah, highly recommend this one.
I like it. Shall we go on to the winner?
Oh, okay, the winner. Woo!
Behind the Supermarket, Smoking with You, unofficial title.
So this is one that's not available in English right now. This is only available in Japanese.
When I first read this title and I tried to translate it by myself without knowing what the unofficial title was, I wrote it down in my notes as 2 people smoking cigs behind the supermarket. It literally was released, the first volume in Japanese was released August 25th. It's a romance slice of life seinen, which went on viral after the author posted the first chapter on Twitter with 2.5 million plus likes.
Sheesh.
Yeah. In this story, we've got Mr. Salaryman guy, Salaryman dude. He really is just living that salaryman grind set life.
Is a salaryman on the grind set lifestyle?
I mean, listen, there are a lot of these dudes in Japan working their asses off as salarymen, you know, it's hard, it's rough.
They are on a grind set lifestyle.
They're on a grind set, man. It's tough. And really kind of the only thing that like makes him like happy these days is just smoking a cigarette to just release the tension. And there's this cute supermarket clerk named Miss Yamada, and she's very energetic, and he always looks forward to seeing her at the supermarket. But one day she's not there. So he goes out to smoke his little cigarette and he meets this quote unquote eccentrically, I think she's dressed like normally and cute, but eccentrically dressed.
Is that what the synopsis says? Eccentrically dressed. Is that eccentric? Just to have drip? She's just dressed nicely.
Yeah, her name is Tayama-san. She too enjoys smoking a cigarette behind the supermarket. There's like an air of realism to it, but like also this is every salaryman's fantasy, I think. Like to be completely straight with you, almost every salaryman in Japan is like, I think, fantasizing about this sort of situation. So I can see why it's so popular.
It wasn't really that plot heavy from what I read. It's just a dude chilling with a girl. Kind of reminded me of a Call of the Night a bit, you know? Because this manga is just pure vibes. Kind of gave me like a really like comfy feeling. This is the perfect manga just to read before you go to bed. Because it really just like relaxes you, really like chills you out.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
It's a vibe, all right.
So those were the 3 winners.
Congrats, everyone.
Definitely go check all of these out. Out of these 3, my favorite one was probably the magical girl one.
Me too.
I thought it was a cool concept.
It's a creative take.
It is really creative. A magical girl show that's original and not just Madoka?
No
Hell
way.
Yeah. Sign me up.
Let's go. So shall we move on to the print manga category?
Yes, let's do it.
All right, let's go. So first we'll be announcing the 3rd place winner. Huzzah!
Woo! Look at that.
Akane Banashi.
Yes. So this is also being published on Manga Plus right now. And honestly, I have really, really high hopes for this one. I really, really enjoyed this one. Did you read this one?
I did, and I absolutely freaking adored it. I loved the facial expressions in this freaking manga.
I didn't even need to read the manga. I just saw this cover and I saw this girl. You know when a girl just has like the right amount of attitude? She's the main character, by the way, and I'm like, I'm gonna like this protagonist. Basically, just to give a synopsis of what this manga is about, it's a manga about Rakugo.
I love Rakugo because whenever I turn on the television and watch Japanese TV, there's some program on about Rakugo, and they're like 3 dudes like sitting on their cushions and like competing and that kind of thing, just doing Rakugo, and I just think it's the coolest, like most awesome thing ever.
The best way I can describe Rakugo, because it's a very Japanese thing. Imagine like stand-up comedy, except you have to sit down in a very strict place and the only prop you have is a fan. What makes it such a beautiful piece of art is that even though it's so restrictive, the Rakugo performers have a very unique way to portray and tell stories and portray different characters. The way they can portray so much with so little is just absolutely amazing and impressive. That's kind of what this story is about. So the main character is the daughter of a guy who's an aspiring Rakugo performer, and he wants to get the highest achievement a Rakugo performer can get, and then for some reason everyone at his school gets expelled and it's not explained why. And she, being powered by the power of pure salt, decides to become a Rakugo performer herself. And so, of course, shonen style, she aims to be the best Rakugo performer of all time, and this is just kind of her journey in that.
She's so cool, the way that her expressions and whatnot, the way that she can like portray the different characters that she tries to talk about. The art itself kind of changes too during those bits where there's an actual story being told to like kind of a more traditional like painterly sort of calligraphy style.
I think one thing I found really impressive about this manga is how they portrayed the Rakugo performances. They really exaggerated the different characters that are being portrayed in the story, and I thought, wow, this is really impressive. There's no way this is accurate to real life. And it's so weird because after reading this manga, I actually watched a bunch of Rakugo performances because this manga genuinely made me interested. And it was so accurate to the energy I was feeling from watching IRL Rakugo performances. It was just insane. One, insane that a manga can capture the energy that well, and 2, the fact that these Rakugo performers were so talented that they could exude these kinds of different energies and different characters while sitting completely still and just changing some subtle mannerisms and everything like that.
And it's interesting that you say that because it was actually monitored by a real Rakugo performer, since real Rakugo stories are used throughout the story, so they had an actual professional come in to help out.
In terms of like Shonen Jump, this one very much reminds me of Act Age. The only other Rakugo anime I can think of is Rakugo Shinju, and this one's kind of like a mix between that and Act Age, but we don't talk about Act Age. This is the nice spiritual successor, since that one's out the window now.
Well, I hope you guys get a chance to read it because it does have 27 chapters in English on Manga Plus, so go check it out, you guys. And there are currently 2 volumes in Japanese as well. I'm looking forward to seeing big things from this manga.
That was number 3, and I was already so impressive.
3?
Yeah, that was only number 3.
That's a tough one to beat.
I was reading that, I was like, this is number 3?
No
this
way.
one?
I guess we better find out what number 2 is, yeah?
Yeah.
The second place winner is Witch Watch! Yay!
Woo!
Witch Watch!
So, unfortunately, this is one of the ones that I didn't get a chance to read because I ran out of time, but you read this one, didn't you?
I did, and I loved it. When I opened up this manga, I wasn't sure, like, is this gonna be like a shoujo manga, or like, is it gonna cater more towards people that like cute girls or cute guys? And the answer is both. Everyone can enjoy Witch Watch. I love every character in this manga because the situations that they go through in their lives are like fantastical and whimsical, and it's full of fantasy, but it's also full of real life as well. The series focuses on the main character, whose name is Nico. She's a teenage witch, and after completing her magical training, she moves into the house of her childhood friend and longtime crush, Morihito.
Ooh.
But the thing about Morihito is that he's a human-looking ogre with the intention of making him her familiar in the hopes that this will help them become a couple.
This guy's an ogre?
That ikemen on the page right
God,
there.
if this guy's an ogre, what am I? Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
I mean, this is a good-looking dude, I guess. So as the story goes along, they find themselves dealing with lots of various supernatural and legendary beings and whatnot that they encounter in their day-to-day, and they try to solve all the weird, unpredictable problems that Nico's magic causes. There's a lot of like kind of slapstick funny stuff, like the accidental enlargement of like their body parts.
Would you like to expand? And I'm not talking about that kind of expansion.
No, I'm just saying that was a scene that made me laugh super hard because it was just so silly. Something that made me also really excited when I did some more research into this was that it's the same author of Sket Dance, Sketto Dance.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I love that anime so much. So I got excited when I figured out it was the same author.
But he's also the same author of Astra, Lost in Space,
Yeah,
which,
that's
if you know that, I think it's a very, very underrated manga. I feel like it's totally different vibes to this one, because Astra, Lost in Space is basically space Among Us. No, wait, Among Us is in space. Damn. It's just Among Us. Among Us lost in space. I don't know how to describe it now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
That was number 2.
Yes.
And I'm sure you guys are very excited to find out what won number 1 in the print manga category.
I know you're excited about
I am
this
excited
one,
to
so
talk
let's
about
get
this
a
one.
drum roll. What could it be?
Dun dun dun! This is Medalist. Yeah, honestly, this is without doubt the best thing I read. This is highly deserving of the best manga award this year in the print category. You know when you read something that isn't necessarily original, but everything's just done as good as it can be. This is an example of that. So this is basically a sports manga. Don't switch off yet, weeps. I swear I'm going somewhere with this. It is kind of like a figure skating manga, which I know a lot of people might not be too interested in. It's about 2 characters. The guy is basically a figure skater who tried to skate for the Olympics, but kind of like fell flat at the last hurdle. And part of the reason was because he started figure skating way too late in life. And so he's just trying to make ends meet. And so he decides to join an agency as a coach. Now, this girl, this little sweet little girl, also wants to be a figure skater. Even though she's still a child, in her age, it's seen as still very late to like start joining figure skating as like profession. What makes this manga so good is just the character writing between the guy and the girl, right? What impressed me was the girl her entire life has been told that she's like useless. She doesn't really have many skills. Even her mum has lost faith in her. Even though she says, I want to be a figure skater, everyone around her is just like, you're too old. Her mum's like, your sister was a figure skater and that went nowhere, so I don't know if I really support you or anything like that. So it's just basically seeing her journey becoming an amazing figure skater. And I know that sounds cheesy and I know that sounds standard, but it gets you invested so incredibly fast to the point where I actually cried. No joke, because what made me cry? Reading this manga made me feel like a proud father. My maternal instincts kicked in and I didn't even know I had maternal instincts. I'm like, what the hell is this? There's this one scene where the girl in this manga does something that surprises everyone, and it just filled me up with an immense proudness, like it was my own daughter. I wanted to just like go up there and hug her and just tell her I'm proud of her. That scene, just like, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about that. It literally did get me that emotional, because one thing I think this manga is different than any other manga I've read is that it gives a complexity to writing children, if that makes sense. You know how like you watch an anime and sometimes the children characters are either too stupid or way too smart.
Right.
Right? Do you know what I mean?
No good balance.
They're either just babies with like 0 IQ or somehow they're talking like poets and they have like 500 IQ. Talking about you, Promised Neverland.
Oh,
Even though I like Promised Neverland, I'm just like, these are way too smart to be children. But
Right.
this strikes the perfect balance of writing kids like they are kids, but still giving them a complexity that makes them seem way more mature than adults think they are. And I think that's really realistic. Honestly, this is amazing. I read the first 2 volumes and I'm completely hooked. I'm here for the journey. I just wish the best for the little girl, okay? I just hope she succeeds in life.
You've convinced me, because this is actually probably the only one I didn't read. Now I'm gonna go check it out, because guess what, guys? 4 volumes in English on Bookwalker.
If I was to pick one title to check out of everything that we're talking about today, this is the one I would recommend. Yeah, and those were like the main winners. But we have a few more winners as well. The next categories are the global winners. So these are the ones that you guys voted for.
So this time, we have 2 global special prizes to announce. First up, I will be announcing the award for traditional Chinese edition that you fans chose. What could it be?
Woo!
Ba-ba-ba-ba! The summer Hikaru died. Wow, sounds like a whole bundle of joy for the whole family to enjoy, except maybe not, because this is a horror story.
Is this a horror story? This is one I didn't read, actually.
Yes, this is a horror story. So, 1 volume published in Japanese, and it went viral on Twitter after posting concept illustrations, and on TikTok, fans used the voice comic audio for cosplay videos, and it's been compared a lot to the Junji Ito style. Now, I didn't believe this. Opened up the manga, started reading, and then I kind of thought to myself, I kind of see it a little bit.
Okay, so is this a boys love manga?
It is.
Okay.
The plot of the story is, it's something that I haven't actually seen anywhere, I think. So basically, the deal is, there's this kid named Hikaru. You see him on the cover there. So you know what happens to him. He dies. Or at least that's what we're supposing, right? Got a buddy who's been best friends with him since they were children. His name is Yoshiki. And he starts noticing something is off with Hikaru. So the more they spend time together, the more convinced Yoshiki becomes that something else has taken over his best friend's body. While a series of mysterious deaths threatens the village, Yoshiki must decide if he can fully accept the unknown creature that claims to be his best friend. And there's some spooky moments here where you like really get it. They're like, oh, Hikaru's probably dead, because that's definitely not Hikaru.
I was just flipping through this as you were talking, and I've not seen such a dichotomy of some completely horrific panels, and then I turn the page and I'm like, ooh, this is getting pretty hot right now. This is getting pretty spicy right now. I don't think I can show you guys what is inside the covers here, because I'm not sure if it will be age-friendly for everyone there. But
Interesting read.
it looks very, very interesting. Honestly, I'm just flipping through these panels right now. The art style looks amazing.
Definitely. It is
Right?
super good. It's very unique, and it does have an air of like realism to it that I think really immerses you. But then you've got the spooky, scary stuff happening that's like, what am I looking at? I'm horrified right now. So I recommend you guys read it.
Yeah, I've just turned to a panel, and I think I can show this on YouTube. So I just turned to a random panel, and all I see is an arm penetrating one of the boys, being stabbed in the stomach, cuts to this Junji Ito eldritch horror kind of panel. I don't know what's going on here. And then it's just the boys freaking out over literally being penetrated by a hand in the stomach.
Oh,
I'm
cool,
like,
my hands in my friend's tummy, nice.
I'm like, what's going on? What? I'm so curious.
Yeah, it's something, all right.
I've never read a piece of Junji Ito work and thought, you know what this needs? This
Needs
needs some boys
CSBL.
making out in it. I feel like that's the best description of what I just saw in there. So if you ever have had that thought and read a piece of Junji Ito work and just thought it needed a little bit more boy love in it, then go check it out.
Well described.
There is also another global award.
This is my favorite one.
I can't wait to talk about this one.
This is, I think, my favorite manga I've read this year. This is the Global Special Prize English Edition, which means you English-speaking fans voted for this one. It's Gachiakuta! Gachiakuta! This manga is so dang good, I can't even contain myself.
This manga bangs hard. Harder than those boys in the last manga, man. It slaps, okay? This is amazing.
It takes place in this sort of like fantasy-esque dystopian alternate reality world. There's like the slums, there's like this higher up city, and then there's this place that's basically like the trash abyss, which is where they throw people that do things like murder people. And the main character is this kid named Ludo. Basically, he's an orphan. Parents were murderers. They got exiled, so he has a foster parent who takes care of him. He gets framed for a murder and gets sentenced down to the trash abyss, which is awesome. So much fun. Great. I don't think I've seen him smile once in the first volume, which I love, because I love dark, edgy, like, main characters.
I love the art style so much. I wouldn't call it edgy.
It's a little grungy.
It's
There's, like,
gritty.
graffiti style. It's
Yeah,
gritty.
it's gritty, it's dark, it's just the perfect kind of art style to encapsulate this world, which is just one of the most metal worlds I've read.
You enter this world of trash, but it's cool trash because people make weapons out of trash and use them, and it's the coolest stuff in the world. And there's something about the art style where it's like really kind of distinct Western sort of cartoony influence.
This is definitely going to get an anime, and I think this is going to be one of those anime that like one of the big studio picks up.
Trigger, please.
You know?
Trigger.
This,
Studio
oh my
Trigger,
god, this
please.
animated by Studio Trigger?
Trigger, I beg
Holy crap. Now that you've mentioned that, I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah,
This animated by
I
Studio
thought.
Trigger would be a match made in heaven.
Yeah, as I was reading it, I thought that and got goosebumps. I was like, oh, please, man.
It was so refreshing just seeing a world that just didn't abide to any rules that you understood. I don't know why there are trash monsters. I don't know why there are two societies. It seems like there's been a lot of thought put into this world, and there's so much to explore.
And also for anyone like not completely sold, there's some hot ladies in this freaking manga. I have husbands and wives already picked out in here. You guys gotta read it.
So I believe the author of this manga was a big fan of Soul Eater. They worked as an assistant for Fire Force as well. I feel like they took what they learned from that job and just completely blew out of the park.
Let me test your Nihongo Jozu, Garnt. What does Gachiakuta mean? It's on the screen in front of you. You can cheat if you want.
I was gonna say, guess something with trash.
Correct.
Wait, it's funny because the camera is just blocking the answer, but the title, I have the slides right here, means real. These just sound like trash taste spin-offs. Get ready for this. The title means real trash or legit garbage.
I like legit garbage the best.
Legit garbage.
What's your favorite manga, Calliope? Legit garbage.
That just sounds like a misnomer. It's like, you're a fan of legit garbage? Really?
Yeah,
really?
man.
Your manga taste must be real trash then, you know?
God, I freaking love it so much. It's really great. If I may be so bold as to make a prediction, I think it's gonna get big.
Oh, you heard it here first.
You can clip me here saying it, but I really think it is.
When this gets a trigger anime, you know who called it. You know who called it.
It's me. We'll see. We'll see a couple years from now. Who knows? But
I guess that's all of the awards, but it's not over yet. And I guess next we'll be talking about some of the manga that were nominated that you can actually find on Bookwalker. And I think there are some real hidden gems here. I feel like some manga genuinely deserved an award, maybe even more so than some of the winners who won.
I guess we better show some of them, yeah? Okay, first, With You and the Rain. This one is cute. So basically, there's this lady who finds this animal in a box. The raccoon, tanuki, dog, animal, cat thing tells the woman that he wants to be adopted by writing the words on the box. She is convinced that this new pet is a dog and brings the animal home and they begin their peaceful new life together.
I like how this manga is just like, that's a weird looking dog you have there. You know? That is literally like the synopsis of the manga.
If you like
Right here.
cute animals in manga, regardless of whether they be raccoons, dogs, tanuki, cats, etc., pick this up because it is cozy and cute and fun to read while in bed on a rainy day, and you can just submerge yourself in the cuteness that is the adorable relationship between this lady and the other people surrounding her in her life, and the cute little raccoon friend that they make, who is just the cutest little, somehow knows how to speak or write animal
The
character.
dog doing? What the dog doing?
He's writing on the cardboard. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I was surprised by like how quickly I fell in love with this little raccoon thing.
And the next one, I guess, My Wife Has No Emotion, aka I Married a Kudere. I made that up. That's basically what this manga is. It's like a sci-fi kind of slice of life romance manga. So in this world, robots exist, right? And androids exist. Except in this world, androids are seen as literal appliances. So they're not like, you know, given human rights or anything like that. It's more of just these robots were built for a specific purpose. And this specific case, the wife, this girl, was built as a housekeeper. And so this guy basically just falls in love with his vacuum cleaner. That's kind of how it's seen in the world, right?
Right.
Where she's seen as an appliance. So it's basically kind of like the same social structure as a guy marrying a vacuum cleaner that has googly eyes on it, I guess.
Garnt, I don't think vacuum cleaner was the right idea.
Hey. I just said vacuum cleaner because it was a house appliance. I'm not making this weird. You guys are making this weird.
Alright, I'm just saying, man. You gotta watch. How about a dishwasher?
Okay, a dishwasher. Okay.
I mean, technically, you could, like, anything could be made to be just a tad bit perverted, so we're gonna move right along onto the next
Let's move along.
recommendation. So the next up is I'm in love with the villainess.
I'll be honest. I glanced at the title and I'm like, that's already an anime. And I'm like, wait a minute. That's another villainous anime.
Oh man, no, this is good. This is really good. There's this chick, her name is Ray, and she's an ordinary office worker, and you know, she's worked to death by, you know, society and whatnot. Garnt, guess what? You'll be excited about this.
Okay.
Isekai. Isekai.
I'm interested.
Man, here's the deal though. Ray has this favorite sort of like otome game that she's into called Revolution. In that game, there are 3 bachelors that you can try and win over, okay? So she gets isekai'd into that game as the main character, but here's the deal. She's not interested in any of those dudes. She wants to go after the main villainess.
I mean, you sold me at Isekai. What can I say? But I'm excited to talk about this next manga, though.
What's this
This one was my favorite out of the ones that didn't get any awards or anything like that.
Okay.
This one is Die Dark. And if you have read Dorohedoro, you should probably be really interested in this one because it's from the same author. And it's kind of got that same insane world that makes absolutely no sense, but you keep reading on to figure out what the rules of this world are.
Yeah, the way you described it to me was Mad Max in space.
That's basically it. We were given the plot synopsis to read out for everyone to like understand what the story is. I read it. I don't even really know what the story is about. If I have to go on the top of my head, kind of like Mad Max in space, the main character carries around a backpack that's a skeleton that turns into a real talking skeleton, and he also has a cloak that has superpowers, and his bones can grant any wish to anyone, so everyone's trying to kill him, and then they go to the home planet, and the home planet is in the middle of a black hole, and I'm just like, I am making no sense right now. I'm making zero sense.
Yes!
But that's kind of like the world that it inhabits. What I love is that all of this person's work takes place in the most insane world, and they chuck you straight in, and they just leave it to you to figure everything out on your own. There's no exposition, and then somehow you read enough and it just starts making sense.
That sounds like my kind of story because I love skeletons.
Oh, you'd love this. I believe there's a character that is literally death in this one.
Oh my gosh, now I have to check it out. I gotta see every representation of myself in every piece of media, so I guess I'm reading Die Dark later.
Highly recommend this one. It's very grungy, very metal. Highly recommend. If you read Dorohedoro, but was just like, what if Dorohedoro happened in space? This is your manga.
Cool, I'm checking it out.
And I guess the last one.
The name of this one is I Think I Turned My Childhood Friend Into a Girl.
Yeah, that's basically what this manga is about. It's about a guy who is kind of like a aspiring makeup artist, but is, you know, a little bit embarrassed to practice his makeup skills on girls and everything like that. So what he does is just he asks his bro if he can practice makeup on him. And lo and behold, his makeup is so good that he turns his bro into someone who looks like a really attractive girl. And then they kind of fall for each other. So it's kind of like the story of the straightest JoJo fans. What can I say?
I mean, that's an accurate way to describe, man. And let's see, I guess that's all for our recommended Bookwalker books.
And that was all of the titles that we wanted to shout out and all of the winners. So we really hope you guys enjoyed this year's version of the Next Manga Award. Any final thoughts? Anything you really want to recommend?
Read Gachiakuta.
Read Medalist. Actually, read both of them. I've read both of them. They're both amazing. I really thought Die Dark should have gotten an award, if I'm being honest, because that was my second favorite. And that was everything. Have you guys read any of the manga that we talked about? Keep an eye out of everything we've just mentioned because they're gonna get anime, okay? So if you wanna get ahead of the curve and act like that entitled manga fan, then now's your chance.
Thank you to Bookwalker for sponsoring today's stream.
And that was it. Thank you very much for joining me today. This has been such a more pleasant experience.
It was a blast.
Having you co-host me than last year.
Wait, really? I had
It's great. It's okay. I can trash on the boys.
No disrespect to the boys, but this was kind of a blast.
Check out the Real Trash podcast.
That's
right.
Legit garbage.
Legit garbage. That's my favorite translation.
So good.
I really hope that's the official translation.
Oh, please.
Of Gachiakuta.
I beg.
Anyway, thank you very much for joining us today, and we'll see you all next time.
Yep. Catch you guys later, all right?
Bye.
Everyone go take care of yourselves and have a good one. Bye, everybody.